Good morning. I'll call to order the regular meeting of today's Zoning and Planning Committee. It's October 23rd, 2014. I'm Lisa Bender, the committee chair, and I'm joined by my colleagues, council members Reich, Goodman, Andrew Johnson, and Warsami, and we're a quorum of the committee. We have just 3 items on today's agenda. Items number 1 and 2 have been requested for withdrawal by the applicant. So I will move to withdraw items 1 and 2. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And then we have item number 3, which is for a public hearing. This is the Lerner Building at 241 First Avenue North, and it's an appeal filed by conditions of approval from the Heritage Preservation Commission for some unpermitted window replacement that took place there. So we'll start with staff.
Good morning, Chair Bender, council members. This is an appeal of 3 conditions of approval applied by the Heritage Preservation Commission at their meeting of September 23rd for the property at 241 First Avenue North for window replacement. Some background on the property. The building was built as a wholesale warehouse in 1917. It was first designated as part of the Warehouse Historic District in the original local district in 1978, then again in the National Register of Historic Places Historic District in 1989, and then when the local district boundaries were reevaluated and expanded in 2009, it was again part of that local historic district. The building has always been considered a contributing resource to the district. The property is located near the intersection of Washington Avenue and First Avenue North, near the southern boundaries of the district. This is how the building appeared historically. This photo is from 1927. And then here's a photo from 1985. As you can see, no really major alterations had occurred to the building other than the doorway and one of the windows on the 4th floor. 1996, again, no major alterations to note. And then in 2007, the property manager applied for a certificate of appropriateness to replace the 4 original wood storefront windows along the 1st floor. And that application was incomplete and deemed withdrawn after remaining incomplete for a couple months. However, the work that was proposed was undertaken without building permits or HPC approval. So this photo is from 2009, so sometime between 2007 and 2009, those original wood storefront windows were removed, and 2 other windows along the alley side were replaced. Again, this work was not enforced, and it's not considered as part of the certificate of appropriateness application that we're discussing today. Here's our most recent city assessor photo. It's from 2012 of the building, and then here's a photo of what the building looks like in March. So as you can tell, I can go back and forth. 36 double hung windows were removed, and the 1 fixed pane window on the 4th floor was removed. All of this without a building permit or HPC approval. So in the process for compliance, basically in February of this year, city inspectors discovered that the window replacement was taking place without the building permits or HPC approval. The work was ordered to be stopped, and the proper permits were ordered to be obtained. So the process for the property owner to come into compliance, basically a window replacement always requires a building permit, and if you're in a historic district, before you get a building permit, you have to get HPC approval for a major alteration such as this. So CPED staff first met with the property owners and their representatives in March of this year, and since then they've been considered to be in the process of coming into compliance, so no fines or official orders have been issued yet. So in July, they applied for a certificate of appropriateness. They submitted a complete application for a certificate of appropriateness. Their proposal was for the front facade facing First Avenue North was to retain the unpermitted replacement windows on that facade, adding a horizontal muntin, so basically a 2-inch strip of metal to the middle of the windows to try to mimic somewhat what a double hung window would have looked like, or did look like. And then to replace the remaining 6 windows that remained when the work was ordered to be stopped on the 3rd and 4th floor to match the rest of the windows they had replaced. And then they were also proposing for the rear and side facades to replace additional windows. And those were simulated divided light aluminum windows were approved by the HPC, subject to certain conditions. Those conditions are not being appealed today, so we're just focusing on the First Avenue North facade and the conditions that directly apply to those windows. This is just color-coded. There are different window sizes, so there's 4 different windows. This just shows that 2-inch horizontal muntin that they're proposing to mimic the meeting rail of a double-hung window. You can also see here pretty clearly the difference between the double-hung windows and the unpermitted replaced windows. So staff found and the HPC concurred that the proposal to retain the unpermitted replacement windows with the addition of an applied horizontal muntin and replace the remaining 6 windows on the front facade was inconsistent with the criteria of significance and the period of significance of the warehouse district, the designation of the warehouse historic district, the continued integrity of the district, the warehouse district design guidelines, the Secretary of the Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties, specifically the recommendations for window replacement, our city's preservation ordinance, and comprehensive plan. So the conditions of approval recommended by staff and approved by the HPC were directly based on the warehouse district design guidelines and the Secretary of Interior's recommendations for window replacement. And by meeting those conditions, the replacement of windows is believed would be consistent with the designation and nomination of the district and ensure the continued integrity of the district. So HPC, the Heritage Preservation Commission, adopted staff findings and approved the certificate of appropriateness to allow window replacement on the property. These are the 3 conditions that are being appealed today, specifically that the unpermitted replaced windows on the First Avenue North facade shall be removed, and then replacement windows shall be installed which do not change the sash, depth of reveal, muntin configuration, the reflectivity of the glazing, or the appearance of the frame of the historic windows. That comes specifically from the recommendations for window replacement from the Secretary of the Interior. And then the new windows would be measured to match or to replicate the profile of the remaining 6 windows that remain in the 3rd and 4th floors. And then on the 2nd floor, all 5 of those windows have already been removed. So the condition states that those should replicate the profile based on photographic evidence, which we have a significant amount of. So with that, I'll close there and take any questions you have.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, we can open the public hearing then, and we will start with the applicant, who's also the appellant.
Good morning, and thank you for taking the time to hear our appeal of items 1 through 3. In the September 23rd HPC meeting, we're pleased to accept items 4 through 13 regarding the replacement of the simulated side and rear windows. So really only our plan differs from the HPC on the first floor front windows. The floor 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor of the front windows. We feel that our plan replicates the historical appearance, as well as taking into account energy efficiency, durability, and the structural integrity of our building. Also, significantly, there's a large difference in the costs between our proposed plan and the HPC's of approximately $100,000. We clearly didn't approach this project as a developer would, and we made mistakes. We didn't hire a contractor. Our longtime production director on staff worked directly with Bryn Glass to plan this project, initially focused on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor windows. There was miscommunication about the permit process with Bryn, which led to the unpermitted work, and then I got involved as the owner of the building. I say this not as an excuse, but simply as an explanation. We are not developing this real estate for rent. We're not a fly-by-night developer. We have been a continuous owner and operator since my father purchased this building in June 1966, perhaps the longest owner-operator in the warehouse district. We've been in the building over half the lifespan of the building. We love our building and we love our neighborhood, and we've contributed tremendously to its appeal as a media hub. We were one of the first major donors to the Central Library kitty corner to us. In fact, I'm just going to show this. There's a sense that we're not interested in architecture. We created this book with the Central Library to celebrate its building. And we enjoy the support of many of our neighbors. In fact, unsolicited, several neighbors and multi-generational business owners have told me that they have written the committee supporting our plans. We have published thousands of worthwhile educational books in our building, employed hundreds of local residents, and paid millions of dollars in property taxes. I won't get into it. My lawyer tells me that talking more and showing our books might not resonate with this committee. I disagree. I'm happy to show you visually, but we've published several Coretta Scott King Award winning titles, which are given annually to the outstanding African American authors and illustrators of books for children and young adults. We've won a Batchelder Award published from this building, which goes to the outstanding book nationally, published in translation into English. We've had many Minnesota Book Award nominated and winning titles, and just this morning, I signed a book contract with celebrated Minneapolis photographer Wing Young Huey to photograph the immigration experience of Minneapolis. $100,000 is a tremendous amount of money for us to spend on plans that we feel marginally enhance the historical appearance and may cause some structural risk to the building. The publishing world is experiencing a tremendous amount of disruption right now, and this additional amount of expense puts our core business at risk. Regarding the front windows, it was unclear to us, based on our initial meeting with the HBC staff in March, if they were requiring wood frame single pane windows. The staff report prior to September 23rd to that meeting helped clarify their position and allowed us to rethink our approach to find more middle ground with them. By adding horizontal mullions, we feel this gets closer to replicating the historical profile without wasting the work that was done. As a responsible citizen, it is hard for me to stomach throwing away extremely functional windows, as well as the amount of resources that go into fabricating new ones. The operable windows the staff recommends decrease durability and energy efficiency, increase long-term maintenance requirements, and decrease the overall performance of the glazing system. Also, by removing and replacing these windows once again, it subjects our building to potential substrate damage, negatively impacting the building's historical integrity. If we are required to follow the HBC's requirements, we will not be able to afford to replace the side and rear windows in a timely way to meet the city's deadlines, even though we have now agreed to a solution for them because of the huge additional expense for the front windows. The result will be less energy efficiency, a wasteful solution for the current front windows, and a worse overall appearance of the building. To summarize, we hope this committee will support our plan to enhance the value of the building and the overall appearance of the neighborhood. I believe our commitment and the time we have taken to try to find a solution speaks for itself. We would like to improve the historical accuracy, energy efficiency, and overall appearance of the windows we are discussing on all sides of our building, but can only afford to do so in a timely way under our plan. I have some visuals to show as well. So this, let's see if this is working well. There we go. So this is, as Lisa said, the photo of what the building looks like right now. This is the historical photo. I think it's the same one that Lisa showed. And this is what our plan looks like. You can see by adding the mullions, it really does replicate the historical take on what was originally done. It's a subjective viewpoint, but given the cost and expense and waste that would go into doing what they're suggesting and the damage it could do to our business financially, I hope we can count on your support. Again, I'm going to toggle back and forth. Historical, our plan. Once again, historical. Again, they're not asking for us to put the Martin Brother lettering back on. So when you get into that, it does seem to me to get a little subjective. Again, how it will look like if we're able to complete our plan, in addition to replacing all the side and rear windows. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Continuing with the public hearing, would anyone else like to speak? Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. I'm going to move to deny the appeal, and I'll see if anyone wants to speak on this. I can explain. I mean, I think that the most compelling piece of staff's rationale for this is to protect not only the integrity of this building, but the entire district. And we really can't have a situation where property owners are treated differently than each other. And we can't have a situation where we're degrading the integrity of the entire district building by building. And that's really what this does. I mean, the difference between the historic windows and this is really striking. And it's really a gateway building to the district. So that's my explanation for the motion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Maybe clerk, could you call the roll? Just we've had in the past some.
Bender? Goodman? Johnson? Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew Johnson. Barbara Johnson? Reich? Warsami? No? Okay, so that is 4 yeas and 2 nays.
Okay, thank you. There's no other business before the committee, so we are adjourned.